Yeah, right. What G? What's up?
Thank you so much for having me. I just wanted to give an international perspective into this case because it's not a typical case that you see, not just in the United States but internationally. I'm an international human rights activist and a political organizer. And for someone that's very active in the Middle East and dictatorships, it's an inspiration to see the debate, an inspiration to see the civilized dialogue, even though sometimes it's a little harsh, but it's much more civilized. It's an inspiration to see that a former most powerful man in the world is has to answer to the people and has to answer to the government. It's something that we wish a lot of countries in the Middle East have. So just a different way of looking at it, I think, just appreciating the system, even with its flaws, and recognizing that we need to change a whole bunch is very important. But it's just an inspirational thing to see a powerful man that has made a mistake be held responsible like anyone else, regardless of what's going on, regardless of your liberal Democrat, regardless of um, conservative, Republican. I don't care. The fact that that person was in power, the fact that this person had made mistake, and that the system is taking its course, to a lot of people that are in politics, to a lot of people that are in human rights, that's a huge deal. I think on another perspective, I think the United States will have a big problem to if a president is indicted and found guilty. It's going to be a big problem to have his security in prison because I know U.S. prison system is way behind and there isn't any infrastructure to have a former president safe secure at
No,
prison.
that he'll have a
Uh,
cell all to himself, and yeah,
Yeah, he's not going to be in
yeah, no, he'll be
Alcatraz, right? I mean, yeah, it's not like a situation. He's not going to be at Rikers Island or Florence, right? If indeed he is convicted, right, and
mhm.
he's innocent until proven guilty, absolutely, right. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, he is found guilty. I mean, what they will probably do is they would have to build a specialized wing within on the grounds of a complex or something to accommodate a Secret Service. But that's not that complicated, all right? The Federal Bureau of Prisons is more than capable of putting a building together. Bricks and mortar are not that hard. He's not going to be in a cell. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But this is not a case where he's going to be sentenced to home confinement at Mar-A-Lago, right? I mean, this is very, very serious, and I don't think. I'll just finish with this. Like
Hey, hey,
I understand.
Benjamin,
Yeah.
you don't think that there would be any scenario where it would be home confinement? I
That's
No.
what
had
I was
another
thinking.
attorney say that they thought that yes, maybe it could be home confinement because of the uniqueness of this situation.
So the problem I see with that, though, is because at the current state in time, yes, he's a former president. Yes, he's entitled to Secret Service protection. But let's say in 5 years from now, somebody else is charged with the exact same crime under similar circumstances. A member of the armed services, a member of the intelligence community. They're going to say, "Well, I don't want to go to prison. I want home confinement too." So, now I also think that so the proportionality of the sentencing phase, if he is indeed convicted, it has to reflect justice and the gravity of the crimes. I understand it is a unique situation. I don't think people are understanding how serious the allegations are. My DM, even while I've been in this space, my DM, I've got like 30 DMs talking about classification, declassified. It doesn't matter. He declassified them. I will say this again. It does not matter if he were to produce a document and saying, I declassified all these materials, which he didn't. He would still be facing the same charge. The subsection of the Espionage Act that they're using does not mention classified nor declassified, restricted nor non-restricted, right? It's just people need to get over that fact. And these people, I'm sorry, like Tom Fitton, who, I asked him in Mario Space, okay, overcome obstruction. Well, I can't. I don't know. So I told him politely, I said, listen, you advised the president not to turn the documents over. I don't think you should be offering further legal counsel. It's just that simple, right? This is a very serious indictment. Lev, you've been through this. Do you not
oh,
agree?
Oh, absolutely, and that's why I was with you with fitting on that one on that space with Mario, and I think he was just talking nonsense. I mean, I agree with you 100%. This is very serious. I mean, even his Trump's own Attorney General Barr came out on the media just recently and said that he's toast, that this is extremely serious. I mean, any legal people that are not trying to just promote propaganda are saying that this is very serious and that there's more to it that's coming out.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say I want to thank everybody for participating in this space. Thank you to Peter Strzok again for giving us an hour of his time to answer all sorts of questions from both the left and the right. He didn't have to do that. He volunteered to do it. So I just want to thank everybody there. I want to thank all the speakers. We do still have 2 hands raised, so I want to get to both those hands before I
Two
close.
more points. I just want to finish real quick, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, Ed.
1 minute. I'll get to you, and then I'll get to the 2 other hands up, and then we'll close it out. But I want to thank everybody once again. Thanks to the speakers. I know there's a ton of people who have been trying to get up here, and we just haven't had enough time. Brian and I, we do offer speaker preference to our subscribers, but don't feel obligated. We definitely bring other people up as well. I want to get to Waji, and then we're going to go to Layla, Futurist, and Ira, and then I think we'll close things out. Waji?
Again, Ed, I really appreciate this space and your work. Um, uh, Now, I will make a point, and then I will ask a question of the 2 lawyers, Benjamin and Levy. The point is, I was a consultant for the police a couple times, and I have seen police in many countries. The police in the United States, the way it's divided is causing a lot of problems. I'm commenting on a previous person that was talking about how the FBI is the tool of the president. I think any country that you go to has some sort of intelligence, secret police that investigates uh, espionage, that investigates some high level documents and some sensitive issues that the police wouldn't investigate. But I think what the United States will face as an issue is the way they separate their police, because the police is not a unified unit federally. Even if it's independent, I think if it was federally, you would find much different solution than what you have in the United States. Any country other than the United States, they have their police unified, regardless of which state they're from. I understand the history and understand the complications and I understand why they're all separated, but I'm just making the factual differentiation between them. My question is, if the Trump and his lawyers made a plea deal, could they avoid a prison sentence?
First of all, it's a pleasure to speak with you. I read your bio. كيفك مرحبا. Wonderful to speak with you.
Marhabtan.
Shukran. So the answer is I don't know, right? I mean, I don't know because we've never been here before. Potentially, yes. It's hard for me to see that scenario playing out simply because, look, we have to, just going under the assumption, and it's not proper or proper to make an assumption in this case, but let's just say for the sake of this argument, he is indeed convicted of the vast majority of the charges and the additional charges, which I do believe are going to follow in a superseding indictment. I would put a lot of money on that. It would be very hard for me to see DOJ and the courts negotiating a sentence that does not involve some type of custodial sentence, simply because for the interest of the faith in the judicial system, right? I mean,
Precedents. There would be a bad precedent.
It's not exactly left, but it's more than that, right? So I understand that half the country thinks, well, this is a sham, this is a witch hunt, right? But you also have to understand that there's another half of the country that does not view this as a sham or a witch hunt. So you're going to have to balance that. I don't think that would be the case. I do believe that if he's convicted on any number of these charges, you will see some type of custodial sentence in some type of facility. What that facility will look like, I don't know. I just don't think that a plea arrangement allowing him to walk free and so forth, while that might be a good idea optically, politically, to quote Joe Biden, to heal the soul of the country or whatever, I don't think this is going to be a Lyndon Johnson moment. Or Gerald Ford moment. Oh my God, sorry, I just got in with Nixon, right? I think this is going to warrant a custodial sentence. I need a cigarette. My God, my mind is mush today.
You're still doing a good job, Benjamin.
If he
Keep it
was
up.
found guilty, would he be able to appeal, or is it final?
No, absolutely, he could appeal it, right? So I mean, it's going to run the course. It's going to go through the appellate level and so forth and so forth. I don't believe that once Ira's also a lawyer, and Tira's here. I'd love to hear her opinion. She's a wonderful lawyer. I don't think that the appellate process and so forth, final resolution of this case would occur before inauguration 2025. It might, but I don't know. He can appeal it, of course, and he will appeal
Benjamin,
it.
but if he's convicted, he'd be sentenced right before any appeal. So he'd have to appeal from prison if he's convicted and sentenced to prison.
Yeah, pretty much. That would be the standard practice. But again, you are dealing with a former president. So the answer is I don't know, and I don't think any lawyer, no matter how many years of practice or what area of practice that they practiced in, could answer that because we were in uncharted territory. But I do think that upon conviction, if he is convicted, it would warrant a custodial sentence, and I do think that's what it will be.
So can I disagree a little, Ben?
Oh,
No, no, no,
Tira,
no, no. Look,
no.
Just
Go
a
first
ahead.
of all, I don't actually think we're going to trial on this before the election. I truly don't believe that. Either Judge Cannon will grant a motion for a continuance to after the election for a variety of reasons, or there will be so many motions that Donald Trump and his lawyer files that we get past the time when it's going to happen. Okay. So, number one, I think it's highly unlikely. I mean, I've been speculating maybe Alvin Bragg could sort of tell, he and Jack Smith work out, oh, the federal case comes first. But even then, Judge Cannon is extremely sympathetic to claims that
Judge Cannon will be
I,
recused. She'll either recuse
she's
herself
not,
or she'll be
I don't
reassigned.
think she'll recuse
Absolutely.
herself. I do not see.
Well, then she'll be
I don't know
reassigned. I
that
mean,
the
the 11th
11th
Circuit.
Circuit will do that, to be honest, because she hasn't, while her
Mm.
while her two rulings were slapped down by them, I don't think that she has done enough to warrant recusal, frankly. I mean, I will disagree. Who knows? So I just don't know if it's going to go to trial. Now, if he wins the election, of course, he can't, then he doesn't go to trial because he's a sitting president, and then he will pardon himself, so this will go away. If he loses the election, we find ourselves in a really interesting place, and I think he might try a plea at that point, to be honest, because then he's facing horrible jail time. He's not going to win an election, and there's nothing he can do. I really wonder if they're willing to build a separate wing, because that's what would have to happen for him because of Secret Service and things like that. Obviously, he can't be put in the regular population. That is ridiculous. So I guess I can see a situation in which he agrees to rather draconian, some sort of, or which the justice order agrees, some sort of draconian home confinement. I think honestly, taking away the ability of Donald Trump to use electronic devices, to tweet, to do things like that, and maybe making it very clear that anyone who does it on his behalf is in trouble, would be quite a lot of punishment for him. But we're all speculating wildly. Thanks.
Very, very interesting takes. I do